Welcome everyone. Today we're going to go through the basics of screwdrivers. You've probably seen quite a number of these at different times in your life, wondered whether you have the right one for the right job. So today we're going to go through them and I'll show you some of the key tips. So I've got them set apart here by type. Not every type, there are quite a few, but we've got our standard flathead screwdriver. The flathead screwdriver was invented somewhere in the 1700s. Very handy. We tend to use them now more for pry bars, opening up cans and lifting screw nails out of wood and so forth. To the right, we've got the Robertsons. These were invented by Peter Robertson in 1906. These were invented and patented initially in Canada and in 1907 in the United States. Further to my right here is the Phillips screwdriver. This is invented by John P. Thompson in the United States. It was patented in 1932. So we've got screwdrivers from the 1700s, ones from the turn of the 20th century in 1906, 1907, and then a few years later, in 1932, in the United States, the Phillips screwdriver was invented. Later on, much later on, we have the Torx screwdriver. These are very common today in electronics, in automotive applications, and then we also have the standard Allen key or the hex key, which is a recessed hex screw head. When we look at the different types of screws, they were also, and I have a few examples here, they were also designed with some purpose in mind. We have wood screws, which have the thread or the grooving in the screw is further apart in a wood screw than in a steel screw. A steel screw, the threading is much tighter. We have these flange heads, which will recess into the wood, and I'll show you an example of that, so that when they are screwed in, they do not stick out at all. And then you've got the oval head, which sticks out after you screw it in. You can also see that many of the wood screws don't have threading all the way along. So I've put this large one in here as an example. That is designed to go into wood, quite a thick bit of wood, so that the extra screw portion isn't necessary. But you can imagine if you were trying to screw two pieces of steel together, and those pieces of steel were fairly thin. You would want thread on all of the length of the screw nail. If you didn't have thread on the full length of the screw nail, you would screw past the thread and then it would simply slide in the hole. So we have a couple of examples, this one on a Phillips where the thread goes all the way to the top, a couple here on flat where the thread goes all the way to the top as well. They're designed for applications where you have thin pieces of material that need to be thread together. So you can also use a shorter screw for that action. Now we focus on the different sizes. So when I grew up, I would have my father ask me for a number 2 Robertson, or a green Robertson, or a red Robertson. So they were color-coded and they were numbered. And back then, that's how screwdrivers were. They were color-coded. It was very simple to go into the toolbox and grab that red-handled number 2 Robertson. You knew where it was very quickly. You didn't have to look at it. Today, we don't have that luxury. You can see these are all different colors. So you really have to pay attention to what screw head you have and what screwdriver fits the best. The reason we need this is because you will slip. These screwdriver heads are designed with metal that is quite strong, and it's quite a bit stronger than the screw head in almost every instance. What that means is if you put a screwdriver in that's slightly too small or undersized for the screw head, and you start to torque on that screw, it can slip. And I've got an example of a couple of screw heads here where that's occurred, and you can see the damage. Once you damage the screw head, it becomes very difficult to get the screw to go in and out if you ever need to. So choosing the right screwdriver could simply be try it out, see if it fits. And if there's any slip, you can see in this one, very, very tight, not much slip. If we move it up to the larger one, there's a fair bit of play. You can hear the play. Now, this may actually turn this, but once I get into torque, it's going to slip. So when I see that play, I need to size up. No play at all on this one. If I go way too small, it doesn't pull at all. It just spins. So choosing the right tool is very, very important. The number 2 in your set of screwdrivers is your most typical, what we would call the standard screw. And that number 2 is your flat, is in your flat, in your Robertson or square. It's also in your Phillips. It's so common that you'll see these little stubby screwdrivers. Now, why do I need a stubby screwdriver? Well, sometimes I don't have space between where I'm screwing in a screw and the outside. So imagine you're putting something in beside a wall and you need to get in and you just don't have room to put such a long screwdriver in and get in there. So they've made, I call them stubbies, but they're just a shorter handled screwdriver. And what you'll find is almost always these are number 2 screwdriver heads. So this example here is a number 2 standard Phillips screwdriver head. The short version, the long version, very handy to have. The same here, the number 2 Robertson, square head, short and standard length. And the number 2 in your flathead. You can see they are visibly exactly the same. So if you ever see numbers on the backs of screwdrivers like this, you'll see that this indicates a number 2. We can also see the symbol that this is a square, so it's a Robertson. So this is a number 2 Robertson, and this 1.5 inch references the length of the shaft of the screwdriver. So this is a 1.5 inch number 2 Robertson screwdriver. This is an example of a number 3 Robertson, and it has a 6-inch shaft. So you can see you've got a 6-inch shaft on this number 3 Robertson. So that's what those numbers mean. So I hope this helps demystify screwdrivers somewhat for you. I grew up in a farm environment where I was often asked, go grab a Phillips, go grab a Robertson, go grab, and they were always brand names. And it was confusing for me, and I didn't want to be the kid that said, what is that? What is a Phillips again? And I tried to remember them, so it's not important that you remember those names, but I hope this helps give you a bit of the background and history on them and simplifies this whole thing for you. We generally have 3 standard screwdrivers, your flathead, your square head, and what they call a cruciform head, which is just the cross in the Phillips screwdrivers. So, well, thanks everybody for watching. If you liked the video, don't forget to hit the like button. If you want to learn more about household tools, common tips and tricks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and click the notification icon to ensure that you are notified when our new videos are posted. Thanks so much.